The Jungle Book is a 2016 American fantasy adventure film directed and produced by Jon Favreau, written by Justin Marks and produced by Walt Disney Pictures. Based on Rudyard Kipling's eponymous collective works, the film is a live-action. Favreau, Marks, and producer Brigham Taylor developed the film's story as a balance between Disney's animated adaptation and Kipling's original works, borrowing elements from both into the film. Principal photography commenced in 2014, with filming taking place entirely in Los Angeles. The film required extensive use of computer-generated imagery to portray the animals and settings. 7. The Jungle Book was released in the United States in Disney Digital 3D Real D 3D, IMAX 3D, D-Box, and Premium Large formats, on April 15, 2016. It became a critical and commercial success, grossing over $966 million worldwide, making it the fifth highest-grossing film of 2016. The film received praise for its visual effects, vocal performances, direction, musical score, and its faithfulness to the spirit of the original animated film and the Kipling novel. It won accolades for achievements in visual effects at the 89th Academy Awards, 22nd Critics' Choice Awards, and 70th British Academy Film Awards. A sequel is in development, Marks is completing the script, and Favreau is set to return as director and a producer. In the jungles of India, Mowgli is a man-cub, raised by the wolf Raksha and her pack, led by Akela, in an Indian jungle ever since he was brought to them as an infant by the Black Panther Bagheera. Bagheera trains Mowgli to learn the ways of the wolves, but the boy faces certain challenges and falls behind his wolf siblings, while Akela objects to him using human tricks, like building tools, instead of learning the ways of the pack. One day, during the dry season, the jungle animals gather to drink the water that remains as part of a truce during a drought that enables the jungle's wildlife to drink without fear of their predators. The truce is disrupted when a fire-scarred and vicious tiger named Shere Khan arrives, detecting Mowgli's scent in the crowd. Consumed by a vendetta against humans for scarring him with fire, he threatens to kill Mowgli at the end of the drought. After the drought ends, the wolves debate whether or not they should keep Mowgli. Mowgli decides to leave the jungle for the safety of his pack. Bagheera volunteers to guide him to the nearby Man village. En route, Shere Khan ambushes them, but Mowgli manages to escape amidst a buffalo stampede. Later, Mowgli meets an enormous python named Kaa, who hypnotizes him. While under her influence, Mowgli sees a vision of his father being killed by Shere Khan while protecting him. Kaa attempts to devour Mowgli, but she is attacked by a bear named Baloo who rescues the unconscious Mowgli. Mowgli later awakens and retrieves some difficult-to-access honey for Baloo as repayment, with the two bonding in the process. Mowgli agrees to stay with Baloo until the winter season arrives. Meanwhile, upon learning that Mowgli has left the jungle, Shere Khan kills Akela and threatens the pack to lure Mowgli out. Bagheera eventually finds Mowgli and Baloo and is shocked that Mowgli has not joined the humans as he had agreed, but Baloo calms him down and persuades both of them to sleep on it. During the night, Mowgli finds a herd of Indian elephants gathered around a ditch and uses vines to save their baby. Although Baloo and Bagheera are impressed, Baloo realizes that he cannot guarantee Mowgli's safety after learning that he is being hunted by Shere Khan. Baloo agrees to push Mowgli away to get him to continue onward to the Man village. Mowgli is kidnapped by a gang of monkeys known as the Bandar Log, who present him to their leader, a deranged Gigantopithecus named King Louie. Assuming that all humans can make the red flower fire, King Louie offers Mowgli protection from Shere Khan in exchange for it. Baloo distracts King Louie while Bagheera tries to sneak Mowgli out. But their ruse is uncovered. As King Louie chases Mowgli through his temple, he informs Mowgli of Akela's death. King Louie's rampage eventually causes his temple to collapse on top of him. Furious that Baloo and Bagheera neglected to tell him about Akela's death, Mowgli goes to confront Shere Khan. He steals a lit torch from the Man village and heads back to the jungle, accidentally starting a wildfire in the process. He confronts Shere Khan, who claims that Mowgli has made himself the enemy of the jungle by causing the wildfire. Seeing the wolves' fear of him, Mowgli throws the torch into a river in rage. Baloo, Bagheera, and the wolf pack hold off Shere Khan, giving Mowgli enough time to flee into the burning jungle. Shere Khan defeats all of them single-handedly and goes after Mowgli. He lures Shere Khan up a dead tree and onto a branch, which breaks under the tiger's weight. And Shere Khan falls into the fire to his death. Mowgli then directs the elephants to divert the river and put out the fire. In the aftermath, Raksha becomes the new leader of the wolf pack. Mowgli decides to utilize his equipment and tricks for his own use, having found his true home and calling with his wolf family, Baloo, and Bagheera. Cast. Main article. List of the Jungle Book characters. Neil Sethi, the actor who portrayed Mowgli. Neil Sethi as Mowgli, a young boy who was raised by wolves. The search for casting Mowgli was extensive, with thousands of children auditioning from the United States, the United Kingdom, New Zealand, and Canada. Eventually, newcomer Neil Sethi was confirmed for the role, with casting director Rebecca Williams describing him as embodying the heart, humor, and daring of the character. He's warm and accessible, yet also has an intelligence well beyond his years and impressed us all with his ability to hold his own in any situation. 8. Sethi underwent parkour training in preparation for the role. 7. Kendrick Reyes is toddler Mowgli. Ritesh Rajan is Mowgli's father. Voice cast. Bill Murray as Baloo, a bear, referred to by Bagheera as a sloth bear, who encounters and befriends Mowgli. Favreau had Murray in mind to voice Baloo since the beginning of the project. "He's perfect," says the director. "Bill just exudes all the charm and humor that you need and expect from Baloo. He has a certain dryness and a rebellious quality." He had also always wanted to work with Murray, having been a huge fan of his work, though he has been aware of how hard it is to contact him. Fortunately for Favreau, he was able to get a hold of Murray, and he agreed to come on board, with Favreau going on to comment that once he came aboard, he was incredibly passionate. "He has a very high standard. I just couldn't say no to playing Baloo," says Murray. "Jon Favreau is a terrific storyteller and I'm such a huge fan of the original stories. Kipling wrote a lot of amazing stuff. I read that book when I was about 22 and I've always thought that it was just extraordinary writing." 2. Ben Kingsley as Bagheera, a Black Panther who is Mowgli's mentor and protector. Favreau said that Kingsley brought this elegance and refinement to the character, yet with great firmness. "He's an interesting dude with crazy range." 2. Kingsley said that Bagheera's role in Mowgli's life is to educate, to protect and to guide. 2. Kingsley said that Bagheera is instantly recognizable by the way he talks, how he acts and what his ethical code is. and stated that, Rudyard Kipling's stories of Mowgli's adventures with these extraordinary, beautifully defined characters introduce many around the world to the Indian subcontinent and its culture. Through he felt that both the film and the book's story was ultimately about Mowgli's search for a family. There are many wonderful stories that are based on the struggle of an orphan to find a family, to create a family around him, which is a very poignant part of Jon Favreau's version of the film. It will have its beautiful, thrilling, exciting, joyous moments of celebration, but must also quite rightly have its darker moments. Because we're dealing with a very isolated child who triumphs over enormous odds, too. Idris Elba as Shere Khan, a fearsome, scarred tiger with a blinded left eye who wishes to kill Mowgli. Favreau felt that Elba's voice wields tremendous presence in a room 9, and that Elba's got such gravity and brings his steely presence, a deep timbre that echoes in a larger-than-life way. He understands this scarred, imposing tiger in a way the character demands. 9. Elba said that Shere Khan reigns with fear. He terrorizes everyone he encounters because he comes from a place of fear. 9. Elba was highly impressed with the film's effects, stating that Jon Favreau showed Elba Shere Khan's expressions and how he moves. He had to ask, is that a real tiger? The technology is incredible. 9. Lupita Nyong'o as Raksha, a female wolf who is Mowgli's adoptive mother. Favreau and Marx decided to give the character of Raksha a more predominant role in the film, similar to Kipling's original tales. 10. Favreau chose Nyong'o because he believed her voice imbued the emotion required for the role, commenting, Lupita has tremendous depth of emotion in her performance. There's an emotional underpinning she brings, and a strength, and we wanted that for this surrogate mother. Much of that comes from her voice. 11. Along with saying that she was a fan of the original Disney animated film, Nyong'o also commented, I really enjoyed preparing for this and learning about wolves and how social they are, how they stick together, continues Nyong'o. There's such an order, a hierarchy to a wolf pack. Mowgli tries to fit in with the other wolf pups. He has his challenges, but he is very much a part of the pack as far as Raksha is concerned. Scarlett Johansson as Kaa, a gigantic python. Favreau decided to cast Johansson, a recurrent collaborator of Favreau's, to play Kaa, originally a male character. As he felt the original film was a little too male-oriented. 12. On Kaa's role in the film, Favreau said that Mowgli is exploring different regions of the jungle, mistier, darker, more mysterious parts of the jungle. That's where Kaa lives. That's where she gets a hold of him, till Baloo rescues him and brings him back to his cave. 9. Johansson said that, for her, the opportunity to play Kaa as envisioned by Jon Favreau was so exciting. 9. And described Kaa as the mirror into Mowgli's past. 9. Giancarlo Esposito as Aquila, a male wolf who leads the pack. Producer Brigham Taylor praised Esposito, claiming that Giancarlo is an esteemed actor who absolutely embodies the nature of the character. 9. Along with commenting that he's a fan of both the animated film and Kipling's books. Giancarlo described his character as a fierce patriarch of the wolf pack. He believes that the strength of the pack lies in what each and every wolf offers. He knows if they stick together, they can survive. He's a great leader, a wise teacher. I aspire to be like him, too. Christopher Walken as King Louis, a Gigantopithecus who rules the Bandar Log. Favreau decided to change King Louis from an orangutan to a Gigantopithecus due to the fact that orangutans are not native to India, where the story takes place. Although modern humans and Gigantopithecus never coincided, 6. However, he gives the animal a very similar appearance to a Bornean orangutan, contrary to evidence about Gigantopithecus. His character was given a slight alteration from the 1967 film and was partly inspired by Marlon Brando's character Colonel Kurtz in Apocalypse Now, 10, as well as incorporating Walken's own physical mannerisms. 13. In regards to Louis' changes, Favreau stated, "We created this looming figure that was trying to extract the secret of fire from Mowgli. And also this gave Mowgli the idea that if he had fire, he could have power over Shere Khan. Whether it was good or bad. So there was Lord of the Rings aspect to that. The fire was almost like the ring in that was going to give someone ultimate power. But corrupt them as well as create destruction." 14. Gary Shandling as Ikki, a porcupine that observes the water truce. A character not featured in the original film. 9. This would prove to be Shandling's final role, as he died of a pulmonary embolism prior to the film's release. Brighton Rose is Grey Brother, a wolf pup who is the youngest of Mowgli's adoptive siblings. 9. Jon Favreau as Fred, a hog. A character not featured in the original film. 9. Sam Raimi as a squirrel. 9. Russell Peters is Rocky, a rhinoceros. 9. This character was originally meant to appear in the 1967 film, but Walt Disney scrapped the character. Madeline Favreau as Raquel, a rhinoceros. 9. Sarah Arrington as an antelope. 9. On July 9, 2013, Walt Disney Pictures announced that a live-action adaptation of Rudyard Kipling's short story collection The Jungle Book was in development, with Justin Marks set to write it. 16. The film would be Disney's third live-action adaptation of Kipling's works, following the 1994 film and the 1998 direct-to-video film Mowgli's Story, and the studio's fourth overall after the 1967 animated film. 17. Jon Favreau was confirmed as director that November. 18. Favreau is a child used to watch Disney's 1967 animated film. 10. He felt the need to strike a balance between the two films by retaining the buoyant spirit of the 1967 film, including some of its memorable songs while crafting a film with more realism and peril. He also stressed the importance of nature and realized how things have shifted during Kipling's time and now. In Kipling's time, nature was something to be overcome. Now nature is something to be protected. 10. He was encouraged by Walt Disney Studios chairman Alan Horn to take advantage of the film's setting and story as an opportunity to use the latest advancements in photorealistic rendering, computer-generated imagery, and motion capture technologies. 19. The story of the film is not independently taken from Kipling's works, but also borrows cinematic inspirations from other films, including the child-mentor relationship in Shane, 1953, the establishment of rules in a dangerous world from Goodfellas, 1990, and the use of a shadowy jungle figure in Apocalypse Now, 1979. Sound edit. Director Jon Favreau and composer John Debney sought to recreate the Fantasound experience Walt Disney, himself, had in mind when mixing the soundtrack in Dolby Atmos, as Favreau said, "We isolated instruments when we could. And in the sound mix, we created a Fantasound mix. If you see the film in Atmos, you will feel that there are instruments that move around the theater." 26. A mention for Fantasound appears in the film's closing credits. Music. The musical score for The Jungle Book was composed and conducted by frequent Favreau collaborator John Debney, 27, mostly drawing from George Brunn's original music. According to Debney, Jon Favreau wanted a timeless sound to the score, and I embraced that. 9. Debney created a theme for Mowgli that is not overly emotional. It has an elegance and majesty to it. He's becoming a man through this whole experience, and that's what Debney and Favreau wanted to say with his theme. 9. Shere Khan's theme was conformed of a 3 or 4 note motif. 9. While Belu's called for quirky strings and bass, that is, frolicking and emotional. 9. While Bagheera doesn't have a theme of his own. He's represented by French horns and strings. 9. And Kaa's music features snake-like sounds. 9. While King Louie's features many instruments, like percussion instruments, bass marimbas, etc. While Richard M. Sherman, who originally co-wrote songs for the 1967 film with his brother Robert, was originally reported to be writing new songs for the remake. 28. Favreau decided not to make the film a musical. Still, he and Debney incorporated several songs from the 1967 animated film. 29. The Bare Necessities, written by Terry Gilkyson, is performed by Murray and Setti. 10. And a cover version by Dr. John is featured in the end credits. I Wanna Be Like You, and Trust in Me, written by the Sherman Brothers, are performed by Walken and Johansson, respectively. Richard M. Sherman wrote revised lyrics for Walken's version of I Wanna Be Like You. 10. Johansson's rendition of Trust in Me was produced by Mark Ronson and appears in the end credits only. 10. Used in trailers is the track Take a Bow by English alternative rock band Muse, from their 2006 album, Black Holes and Revelations. The Jungle Book, original motion picture soundtrack, film score by John Debney, released April 15. 2016 recorded 2015-16 Studio Sony Pictures Studios, score, Esplanade Studios, New Orleans Chalice Recording Studios, Music Shed Studios, New Orleans Genre Orchestral. Swing Jazz Length 74-17 Label Walt Disney Producer John Debney Chronology The Young Messiah, 2016. The Jungle Book, 2016. Mother's Day, 2016. Walt Disney Records released the film's soundtrack on April 15, 2016. 30. Track listing. Edit. All music is composed by John Debney except where noted. No. Title writers performers Length 1. The Bare Necessities, Terry Gilkyson Drive. John and the Night Trippers 336-2. Trust in Me, Richard M. Sherman, Robert B. Sherman Scarlett Johansson 255-3. Main titles. Note 1. Release. Edit. Jon Favreau at the premiere of The Jungle Book in Sydney, Australia. The film was originally scheduled for October 9, 2015. But the film's release date was later postponed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures to April 15, 2016. 31, 32. The film was released in the Dolby Vision format in Dolby Cinema in the United States. 33. And is the first film to be released in Dolby Vision 3D, in a few select theaters in New York City and Chicago. 34. The Jungle Book held its world premiere at the El Capitan Theater on April 4, 2016. 35. It was released on April 8 in 15 countries, including Argentina, Australia, Russia, Malaysia, and most notably in India a week ahead of its U.S. debut on April 15. 36. The release date in India was strategic for the film as it coincided with the Indian New Year and was a holiday in most parts of the country. 37. The film had a special Hindi version with famous actors giving their voices to the main characters, including Irfan Khan as Balu, Om Puri as Bagheera, Priyanka Chopra as Kaa, Nana Patekar as Sher Khan, and Shefali Shah as Raksha. As the Japanese anime series Jungle Book Shonen Mowgli had been immensely popular in India in the 1990s. Disney India also commissioned a contemporary recording of Jungle Jungle Baat Charlie Hai, originally used for the popular Indian version of Jungle Book Shonen Mowgli. Overseen by the original Hindi song's composers Vishal Bhardwaj and Gulzar, and released it as part of the film's promotional campaign in India. 38. 39. Novelization. A tie-in novelization of the film written by Joshua Pruitt and Scott Peterson was published by Disney Publishing Worldwide on March 1, 2016. 40. Home Media. Edit. The film was released digitally on August 9, 2016, and on DVD and Blu-ray on August 16, August 22 in the UK. 41. A 3D Blu-ray was said to be coming by the end of the year. 42. The film topped the NPD Videoscan overall disc sales chart for 2 consecutive weeks. 43, 44, in the United States. The DVD and Blu-ray releases sold 2,027,137 units by December 2016 and have grossed $46 million as of August 2018. 45. It's available on Disney as of June 19, 2020. Reception. Edit. Box office. Edit. The film became a huge financial success and a sleeper hit. 46. It briefly held the record for the biggest remake of all time until the studio's own Beauty and the Beast surpassed it the following year. 47. It grossed $364 million in the United States and Canada and $602.5 million in other countries for a worldwide total of $966.6 million. Against a budget of $175 million. 3. Worldwide, the film was released across 28,000 real D3D screens, 34, and had an IMAX worldwide opening of $20.4 million from 901 IMAX screens. A new record for a PG film. 48. It grossed a total of $39 million in IMAX screens worldwide. 49. On May 13. It became the second film of 2016, after the studio's own Zootopia, to pass the $800 million mark. 50. 51. On June 10, it became the third film of 2016 after Zootopia and Captain America: Civil War to pass the $900 million mark. 52. Deadline Hollywood calculated the net profit of the film to be $258 million, when factoring together all expenses and revenues for the film, making it the sixth most profitable release of 2016. Todd McCarthy of The Hollywood Reporter wrote, "Exceptionally beautiful to behold and bolstered by a stellar vocal cast. This umpteenth film rendition of Rudyard Kipling's tales of young Mowgli's adventures amongst the creatures of the Indian jungle proves entirely engaging. Even if it's ultimately lacking in subtext and thematic heft." 118. Andrew Barker of Variety felt that this version can't rival the woolly looseness of Disney's 1967 animated classic, of course. But it succeeds on its own so well that such comparisons are barely necessary. 119. Robbie Collin of The Telegraph gave the film 4 stars out of 5. And deemed it a sincere and full-hearted adaptation that returns to Kipling for fresh inspiration. 120. Alonso Duralde of The Wrap says, "This book might lack the post-vaudeville razzmatazz of its predecessor. but director Jon Favreau and a team of effects wizards plunge us into one of the big screen's most engrossing artificial worlds since Avatar. 121. Peter Bradshaw, writing for The Guardian, gave the film 4 out of 5 stars and felt that the film had a touch of apocalypto in it, finding the plot elements to be similar to those in The Lion King. He wrote that the film was spectacular, exciting, funny and fun, and that it handsomely revives the spirit of Disney's original film. 122. Pete Hammond of Deadline Hollywood wrote that the film had laughs, excitement, an exceptional voice cast and, most importantly, a lot of heart, calling it a cinematic achievement like no other. He particularly praised Murray's performance and the visual effects, deeming it simply astonishing. 123. Chris Nashawati of Entertainment Weekly graded the film an A, calling it one of the biggest surprises of 2016. He, however, felt the 2 songs were rather unnecessary and distracting, and believed the film to be a little too frightening for children. Richard Roper of Chicago Sun-Times awarded the film 3.5 stars, pointing out the CGI as the apex achievement of the film. He labeled it a beautifully rendered, visually arresting take on Rudyard Kipling's oft-filmed tales, but found the musical numbers to be trivial, saying that without the musical numbers, the film might have been a more exhilarating streamlined adventure. 125. Los Angeles Times Kenneth Turan remarked that The Jungle Book is the kind of family film calculated to make even those without families wish they had one to take along. 126. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone awarded the film 3.5 stars out of 4, labeling it scary and thrilling, yet unique and unforgettable, and adding that it fills us with something rare in movies today, a sense of wonder. 127. The Village Voice's Bill Jebiri hailed the film as fast and light and that it manages to be just scary enough to make us feel the danger of solitude in the middle of a massive jungle, but never indulgent or gratuitous. 128. Kath Clark of Time Out compared Elba's character of Shere Khan to Scar from The Lion King, calling him Baddie of the Year. 129. Matt Zoller Seitz of RogerEbert.com also had high praise for Elba's portrayal of Shere Khan, stating, "His loping menace is envisioned so powerfully that he'd be scary no matter what, but the character becomes a great villain through imaginative empathy. We understand and appreciate his point of view, even though carrying it out would mean the death of Mowgli." 114. The film's visual effects and 3D photography were compared to those of Avatar, Gravity, Hugo, and Life of Pi. 121, 130, 131. Sarah Ward of Screen International wrote that the level of detail on display in the film is likely to evoke the same jaw-dropping reaction as James Cameron's box office topper. 132. Entertainment Weekly called it one of the few 3D movies that actually benefit from being in 3D. 124. The film also had a positive reception from Indian contemporary critics and publications. 133. Such as The Times of India. 134. The Hindu. 135. India Today. 136, The Indian Express, 137, and The Economic Times, 138. However, some reviewers criticized the perceived inconsistent tone of the film and the director's indecision to stick to one vision. The New York Times' Manola Dargis was less enthusiastic. 139. Sam C. Mack of Slant magazine wrote, Jon Favreau draws heavily on his film's animated predecessor for plot, characterizations, songs, and set pieces, but doesn't know how to fit these familiar elements into his own coherent vision. 140. Josh Spiegel of Movie Mezzanine also echoed these feelings, saying that the film stumbles because the people involved aren't willing to fully commit to either making a near shot-for-shot remake or going in a completely different direction. 141. Renee Rodriguez of the Miami Herald felt that the movie was soulless, writing that, "The better these talking beasts look, the more the film resembles a gorgeous screensaver. You admire The Jungle Book, but you can't lose yourself in it." Accolades. Edit. Main article. List of accolades received by The Jungle Book, 2016 film, possible sequel. Edit. Following the film's financial and critical success, the studio has begun working on a sequel. Jon Favreau and Justin Marks were in talks to return as director and writer respectively, while Brigham Taylor was confirmed to be returning as producer. 143. Shortly after the release of the film, Favreau and Marks signed on to direct and write the sequel, and it could potentially have a release sometime in late 2019 and will be shot back-to-back with Favreau's remake of The Lion King. 144, 145, 146, but in March 2017. It was reported that the sequel was put on hold so that Favreau would have to focus mainly on The Lion King instead. 147. By January 2018, Marks finished an early draft for the sequel, which he said will go further through Kipling's material, as well as feature elements of Bill Peet's rejected drafts for the 1967 film. 148. In October 2018, Neil Setti confirmed that he will reprise his role as Mowgli in the sequel. As of 2021, the sequel is still in development. 149. Reference